Hello everybody, this is Dr. Tushar Nair. Today in this first lecture, I'll tell you how to score maximum marks in English core, what should be your strategy, what are the points where you commit mistakes and how to overcome those mistakes, what are the points where you need to be extra, we can say careful. So these are just some of the things along with, as you can see the topic here, syllabus and marks distribution. So I'll discuss about that as well. And this year, due to pandemic, due to COVID, the syllabus has been curtailed. The 30% of your syllabus has been reduced now. So how to prepare for that? So all these things I'll tell you in today's lecture. So the first thing is your approach towards English. That generally what happens is students feel that like I have for 20 years I've been teaching this subject and I know what are the general problems. So I'm going to share those things with you here in this lecture. So what happens is generally the mindset of the students. So you should know the mindset of students as well as the mindset of the teacher. So the students feel that okay, I scored this much in 10th class, say 98, 99, 95, so I'm pretty good at English and I can do very well even if I don't study well, or even if like I go through the chapters, so I know how to attempt, how to answer, skills are all fine, I can write. So this is what generally students feel, and so what do? They don't prepare well for that in class 12th. And that is one major mistake that most of the students do, and I must tell you that you should be very much cautious and careful and you shouldn't commit this kind of mistake. You should practice properly and then you can be confident, okay, that I'll score this much marks or I'll score very well. The second thing is your writing. That I don't say that you should write very beautifully or so, but I must say that you should write legibly, because most of the students, even like very good students who have good writing skills, they have this problem that they the whole year they just busy themselves in physics, chemistry and all the things, and I don't say that's wrong, that is what you have aimed to do, so you must do that. But in that practice, what happens is you start jotting and scribbling in your answer sheet, and that makes it very difficult for the examiner to understand what you have written. So you should not do that, and see what is how you should overcome that. You should practice well, and you should start practicing. You should start just checking your work, your writing, that what you do. So avoid jotting, avoid scribbling, because when an examiner is checking more than 100 copies, he has a big bundle to check, and there it's not just 1 or 2 copies, there are definitely several copies, more than 100 copies or so, thousands of copies they have to check. So in that case they can't just bother themselves to understand your certain kind of writing. So better be legible in your answer sheet so that it will be easier for examiner to understand what you have written and he will give you marks. Otherwise you will be the loser, you will lose marks, and examiner won't have any pain in that, right? So you need to understand that. Third is the time. So what happens is, if you haven't practiced well, then the problem is what you take a lot of time in thinking there in examination, because you feel that yes, I can do, why I should practice a lot. I know how to write, I know the format, so I can write any article, any advertisement or any notice, I can write anything, I have those writing skills. But see what happens when you don't practice. You take a lot of time there in examination, and that is not advisable. See, for 5 minutes, if you are occupying 15 minutes or 20 minutes, then of course that is not good. And somewhere in doing that, what you are losing your own time, you are mismanaging time. And if that happens, then what 3 hours won't be sufficient for you, even when 30% of your course is curtailed. Even then, the time won't be sufficient, and then what at the end, when say certain 2-3 questions will be remaining or so, you'll start scribbling and jotting, and definitely that will create a very bad impression upon the examiner. So this is just some some very basic thing that I have told you. So whatever you write there should be well practiced, at least all the chapters, whether if you know the stories or not. Of course you should know the stories, and after going through the stories you should practice what question answers, because that is what help you in scoring more marks. So unless just simply going through the chapters, that won't help a lot, that again and again you read the stories. No, I don't vouch for that. What I say is, simply you read the story once, that is okay, and after that you practice different types of questions, the varieties which have been asked over the years, that will help you. So now, yes, apart from all these things, I must tell you that what are the changes in your course. And the change is, as I stated, that 30% has been curtailed, and apart from that there is a big difference, and that is what now the paper pattern is not as it used to be till last year, because till last year we had what reading section, writing section and literature section. It was divided in 3 parts, but now it is what we have only 2 parts, part A and part B, and all the 3 things have been classified under 2 headings, part A and part B. This is the new change. Apart from that, your paper, the final one, the annual paper, will be of 80 marks only, and 20 marks will be from school side, that is for ASL, as you might have heard about this, assessment of speaking and listening skills. So 20 marks are for that, and that will be say in the authority of your school, they will give you these 20 marks after assessing your speaking and listening skills. And here in exam, what are the things that they may ask and how they may ask. So one major change is MCQs, multiple choice questions have been included, and not just included, there are more number of multiple choice questions than there used to be in the previous years, because in the previous years only from reading section, just the passages they used to ask MCQs. Now the whole part A is about multiple choice questions, and lots of multiple choice questions will be asked now from this year. So let's see now. See, part A will be of 40 marks, and in part A you have reading comprehension, and this reading comprehension will be of 20 marks. And see, there will be 2 passages, as you can see here, passage 1, passage 2, both will be of 10 marks each, and the combined word limit of these 2 passages will be 700 to 750 marks, words, and the questions will be totally what? MCQs only. You will be given, as I said, from each passage you will be given 11 questions, and out of those 11 questions you will have to attempt only 10 questions. That means 1 extra question will be there in each passage, right? So the second passage will be a case based passage. That means you can be given a report from newspaper or some other case study can be given, and based on that you will be asked certain questions and you will have to attempt those, right? So that is one thing. And here I have presented something in red color, note making and summarizing, and you can see this. I've mentioned this in red color, and what I mean to say here is you don't have to study these 2 things, note making and summarizing. So then why I have mentioned here in this slide? So the reason is you may refer old books, because in the market of course old books are there and students do purchase old books. So you will find these topics there in old books, but you shouldn't be confused at all. There should be no say dilemma there about these 2 things. You should outrightly avoid these 2 topics, because they are not going to be asked in your exam, right? So don't give even a glance at these topics, right? So now let's come to literature. So it means now in part A you have both reading and literature. Earlier we had only reading section. Now along with reading we have literature as well. So in literature, what are the things? You will be given prose extracts, like prose extracts, you'll have to attempt 2 out of 3. It means you'll have 3 prose extracts. Out of those 3, you'll have to attempt only 2. And see this, both from Flamingo and Vistas, and only MCQs will be asked from these prose extracts. Means you will have choice. There will be 3. Out of 3, you will attempt only 2. And as you can see, will be of 8 marks. That means 4 marks each. You will be asked 4 questions and you will have to answer all the 4. So 4 from each, both the 2 extracts. Then here comes the poetry. So in poetry, you will be given 2 extracts, and out of 2 you will have to attempt only 1, and that will be of 4 marks. Again, only MCQs. So as you can see, the importance of MCQs have risen, and now apart from these prose and poetry extracts, there will be text based questions from literature. Now not MCQs, we can say just 1-liners or 2-liners, they may be there, and out of 10 you will have to attempt 8 questions, will be of 8 marks, that means 1 mark each, right? So both from Flamingo and Vistas. So can be from the extract can be from Flamingo, the extract can be from Vistas, the extract can be from poetry, and here in text based questions it can be from Flamingo and Vistas both, right? So you must be now very much clear, and in this part it should be you should keep one thing in your mind, because these are all MCQs and very short answer type questions. So you should just write on the spur of the moment. The story must be that much clear, and here definitely in the lectures we'll do that. We'll talk of every minute details, every important point, so that you won't have to study that again, you won't have to go through the story again. In that manner we'll discuss each and every chapter here. So now let's come to the next slide, and here it is part B, and in part B you can see this will be of 40 marks. So before this, let's come to this slide once again. Here you might have seen this is of 40 marks, and 40 marks totally on what? You can see this only MCQs, that reading comprehension 20 marks, totally MCQs. In literature also 20 marks, MCQs plus 1-liners. So 40 marks can easily be scored, very easily you can score 40 marks in part A. Full out of full. Earlier we had only passage where we could score maximum. In reading section, students generally score 20 out of 20, or because of note making and other things they scored sometimes, if they didn't attempt these 2 things properly, then it could be less than 20. But now here we have full guarantee almost that you can score 40 out of 40. So the scope now has gone broadened and it's widened. You can score more than that. And this in part B, this is also 40 marks, and in part B the first thing is writing section, which will be of 16 marks. So one more good thing for you, because earlier writing section used to be of 30 marks, and their students had problem. Those who didn't have good writing skills, they would get less marks in this. But even if now you get less marks in this, that won't be, say only 16 marks has been apportioned or assigned or allocated to this writing section. So there won't be much problem. Like you don't fare well in this section, at least you will get 10, 5, whatever, you can get something at least here. So won't be much problematic. Now in writing section C, short composition, you have notice and advertisement. So these 2 things are an option and will be given in your exam, and out of the 2 you will have to attempt 1, right? So no problem at all. 3 marks, 1 out of 2, it means 2 things will be given. Out of 2 you will have to attempt what? Just 1. So okay, that's fair, no problem at all. Then second is short composition, again that will be invitation. So earlier what? Invitation. So in all books you will find this thing, that notice, advertisement, invitation, along with that poster as well will be given together. But now here, this year it has been separated. Notice, advertisement as a separate question, and invitation as a totally separate one. And invitation itself has different formats. that is a letter format and card format, and then replies, informal replies, formal replies, all these things are there. So now from this year it will be a separate one, and for 3 marks you will have option in this as well. Out of 2 you will have to attempt only 1. Then letter writing. So letter writing also, there is a good thing for you. And what is that good thing? That you just forget about business letters, complaint letters, inquiries. You just forget about all these things. No order letters, nothing. What you have to focus on is just letter to editor and what job application. These are the 2 formats you need to focus on. It means you don't have to worry reading so many formats and so many things and so many varieties. Just job application, and that's for sure, because you'll have an option here in this as well. So out of 2 you'll have to attempt 1. And in job application, what happens is the resume format is all fixed, even the language of letter is all fixed. So you just cram that and you can get 6 out of 6, all guaranteed. You won't have to worry at all. But in letter to editor, definitely as per the questions you will have to make certain changes in language. But here the only change can be in the post, the designation that is being offered in the question, right? So that is the only difference. Otherwise you can just paste the thing that you have already crammed earlier. So that makes the thing quite easy. For 5 marks it will be out of 2 you'll have to attempt 1. Then here comes article and report. Now here I must tell you, earlier you had speech as well in this long composition. Apart from these 2, you had debate as well, but now no debate, no speech, only what article and report. Will be of 5 marks. Out of 2 will have to attempt 1. So prepare the format. You should go through the format of article and report, and you should go through the varieties of articles so far asked in your exam, types of report they ask in your exam. So once you know, once you practice properly, once you have a certain way of writing these things in your mind, then you can easily do that. And in writing section, actually what we take a lot of time, especially what happens that for writing section there are only the 4 questions, and for these 4 questions what happens that you take more than 1 hour. But if you have prepared well, I can say you won't take 1 hour, because see, for these short composition you can complete this just in 3 minutes maximum. For a notice or advertisement it doesn't take more than 3 minutes. Even if you just dawdle, even then it will be 5 minutes at maximum at the most. And in invitation also it won't take more than 3 minutes or 5 minutes. In letter writing you can maximum you can complete this in 10 minutes. And then article or report can also be completed in 15 minutes or say 20 minutes. Even if you think a lot, in 20 minutes you can easily complete an article or a report. So this should be the way how you should proceed in this writing section. And here I must tell you one more thing. One general question of the students is that what should be the way of attempting the paper, that which section should be attempted first, that part A or part B, passages, or we should start with literature, that question answer, or we should start with short compositions or long compositions. So what should we take first? So here I suggest that you simply go in the way as the paper is given. You begin with reading section, and there are chances that you won't commit many mistakes, so you can create a good impression, keep your writing very legible so that examiner can easily understand. And right from the beginning, if that examiner forms a good image of you through your answer sheet, definitely that goes on till the end of your answer sheet, and because of that you definitely get some 1 or 2 marks more unless if you create a bad impression upon the examiner through your bad writing and bad presentation right in the beginning. Because if you attempt a short composition or any such thing right in the beginning where there are chances of committing more mistakes, then definitely right from the beginning there will be a negative image, and that will harm you definitely. Like because of that you can get 1 or 2 marks less or even more than that. So that you should keep in your mind. Now here comes what literature. So the writing was of 16 marks, it's of 16 marks, and then literature is of 24 marks, right? In literature what happens, you have short answer type questions from Flamingo, and in Flamingo you have poetry and prose, both the sections. So in short answer type questions what will happen, you can see, will be of 10 marks, and you will have to attempt 5 out of 6 questions. Total 6 questions will be there. Out of 6 you will attempt only 5, and this means each question will be of 2 marks, right? So that is easy. If poetry and prose you have gone through these things properly, you can answer. And moreover, while teaching we clear each and every point, that from where they can ask questions, what type of questions can be asked, what has been asked earlier. So we'll tell you each and everything, and that makes the task easier for you. Then see short answer type questions from Vistas, 4 marks, 2 out of 3. That means 3 questions will be there. Out of 3 you'll have to attempt only 2. That means 2 marks each. So that makes it 4, right? Then long answer type questions from Flamingo, poetry and prose. Now here one change, and what is that? Earlier they didn't ask long questions from poetry, but from this year you will have long questions from poetry as well, because if you follow the old guides or books or things, then you will find what long answer type questions are not there from poetry. But now from this year you will have to prepare long answer type questions from poetry as well. So you must be mentally prepared for that, and while teaching here in class we'll discuss those things, that how to answer those questions. And one more important thing here, that you should be well prepared with long answer type questions. There are only limited number of long answer type questions, and if you can be sure of those, then you are sure of these 10 marks. Yes. So see, from Flamingo, from Vistas, from both the books you will have long answer type questions. And here what happens, if you haven't prepared them well, then what happens is you get either 4 out of 5 or 3 out of 5. So 1 or 2 marks are getting deducted or curtailed, and that's a big loss when taken say in totality. Then what happens, that's a big loss, because these in this way 1, 2, half, in this way you get around 15 or 20 marks curtailed, right? So each and every mark, even half mark, is very much important for us, and you must understand that, and I hope you do understand that. So here from Vistas, long answer type question, and here it will be of 5 marks, and you will have to attempt 1 out of 2 questions, right? So this is your paper pattern, this is your distribution of marks. So you can understand that importance of literature has grown now. See, 24 marks here, and in part A 20 marks. That means in total literature has 44 marks. Yes, it occupies 44 marks. You must be very well familiar with literature. You should go through it very properly, because otherwise you are risking your 44 marks. Now writing is only of 16 marks, right? So now how to apportion your time to these sections. So for reading section, we can say when objective and these things are concerned, you can easily do those things in just 1 hour, and then writing and literature is concerned, you can attempt these things in just 1 hour and 45 minutes together. This writing section can be completed in 1 hour easily, very easily. And then here comes this literature section. This too can be covered in 45 minutes. So still you will have 15 minutes left with you, and in the last those 15 minutes you should go through everything properly to find out whether you have committed any silly mistakes. And if you find that out, you just have to rectify that so that you don't get your marks curtailed for some silly mistakes that you might have avoided. So this should be your allocation of time for the whole paper, right? Now let me tell you what are the things that have been deleted. So because see, NCERT, your board is not going to publish new books. So in your books, whatever you get from the market, you will find these chapters. But right from the beginning, right in the start, you should put a cross against these chapters, that you don't have to study Poets and Pancakes now. You don't have to study interview. You don't have to study going places. You don't have to study this roadside stand. So all these chapters are now not in your course, but these chapters will be there in your book. So just put a cross against these. And then in Vistas, you don't have to study the Tiger King, you don't have to study the Journey to the End of the Earth and Memories of Childhood as well. So these are the chapters which have been deducted as per the guideline of CBSE, that 30% portion is to be reduced now. So now these things you don't have to study. In writing, I have already told you what debate is not there, speech is not there. In reading, note making and summarizing is not there. So in your books you may find these things, but you just put a cross against them and be well prepared mentally, and just prepare everything in detail and in a proper manner, so that, and follow every instruction given in your classroom. And if you follow each and every guideline, 100% I can say that you will score very good marks. So these are the things which I want you to keep in your mind while practicing and studying English. So I hope everything is clear to you now. Thank you very much.